I am joined now by Republican Senator John Barrasso from Wyoming. He is the chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee. And as they might say in Wyoming, this is not your first rodeo, this inaugural.
No, Candy, this is actually the 9th time I'm seeing a different president come into office. My dad took me to John Kennedy's inauguration when I was 8. We come every time, Republican and Democrat, because of this great country. My dad was a guy who had to quit school in 9th grade, fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and spent his life pushing wheelbarrows of heavy wet cement. So we've gone from pushing cement to now in one generation pushing legislation, but we always want any president to succeed, to do well. That means America does well and Americans do well.
You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because there was a poll recently that CNN took, and the question was, do you hope that President Obama's policies will fail? Republicans, 52% said yes. Independents, 28% said yes. Democrats, 4%. So 52% of Republicans in this poll said they hope President Obama's policies will fail.
Well, there's a difference between policies and the person. The president, to me, really has a big problem with spending. He's addicted to spending, and those are policies that will hurt our country long term. We need to focus on getting people back to work, focus on jobs, the economy, the debt, and the spending. That's what will improve the quality of life for American families and for hardworking taxpayers. People feel they want to get value for their tax dollars, and they're not getting it now, Candy.
It might be a distinction without much difference, though. If you have people saying, no, I want him to fail, and you're saying, well, it's policies. We don't like his policies. And if they go in place, certainly you don't want those policies to fail.
This is a time of divided government. We have a re-elected majority leadership in the House, and we have a re-elected president. But it's times of divided government you can actually do big things for the country, and we have to get our
things. What big thing is going to get done?
Specifically, we have to deal with the debt. We're at $16 trillion. If you want to continue with a social safety net, with the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of that, you have to have a vibrant economy. You have to have growth of the economy. But I need to see policies that will actually do that, and we don't see them now.
I spoke with David Plouffe in the segment before this, and he said that he is confident that there are enough votes in the House and there are the requisite 60 votes in the Senate to pass universal background checks for gun owners and limiting the clips, those high-capacity magazine clips that can fire off so many rounds, to 10 and under. Do you think that's so? Do you think Congress would pass a ban on those clips with 10 or over and a universal background check? Is that going to happen?
No, I don't think it will. And Candy, that gets beside the major issues that face American families, which are jobs and the economy and debt and spending. That's where people are focused. That's the big anxiety of this country.
Sure, I agree with you, but as you know, you deal with a lot of things up there, and at the White House, people in their families deal with a lot of things, and one of the things that's been out there is gun control of some sort, or something that addresses Newtown, whether it's gun control or better access to mental health. And so the president's going to push that.
Yeah, as a doctor, I can tell you the president's essentially ignored the major issues of mental health and violence in society, in the media and video games, and he's focused so much on what may be happening at gun shows or on gun shelves in gun stores that I think that he is failing to try to really find a solution to the problem of the tragedy of Newtown. No one wants that to happen. But the legislation that he's promoting, David Plouffe may have said they have 60 votes. I would really welcome the opportunity to have a fair and open debate on that on the floor of the United States Senate. But I don't think Senator Harry Reid even brings it to the Senate floor, because he has 6 Democrats up for election in 2 years in states where the president received fewer than 42% of the votes. And he doesn't want his Democrats to have to choose between their own constituents and the president's position.
What about immigration? Seems to me that that's something in the interest of the Republican Party that you all would like to see get passed, some kind of immigration reform. Will that happen this year?
You know, I mean, I'm the child of immigrants. That is the history of this country, immigration is good and important for our country. Legal immigration needs to really be modernized. Marco Rubio is working on that. We need to find ways. We're educating so many people and then telling them to leave the country who are from other countries. Go back. We don't want you here. We have issues of labor that we need additional labor. We need to deal with immigration, and I think we will, Candy.
And quickly, you're on the committee that will listen to testimony from Secretary of State Clinton this week on Benghazi and what she knew about it. What else? We know that there was a breakdown somehow in getting appropriate security to Benghazi. What else do you need to know?
Well, the president promised right when this happened that that people would be brought to justice. Where is the justice?
Well, they did fire. There were people punished in at the State Department. I mean, what else do you want?
Well, I mean, I've seen the videos and the surveillance cameras and the things from the drones. There were people, terrorists, who came into essentially U.S. territory, our embassy, our consulate,
right,
and murdered Americans. And that's who the president said was going to be brought to justice. So far, as of today, there are no suspects being questioned. Nothing is done.
Is that a Secretary of State thing?
Well, it's to ask her that. I want to know what lessons have been learned so that the new Secretary of State will not put people in that position again. And I want to know what she was doing. Did she give any orders during this whole process? Took a look at it from before, during, and after the attacks.
Okay, and finally, what do you make of the tone of the president since the election when it comes to issues like the debt ceiling? You said that Republicans were more interested in throwing the country back into recession when it's talking about gun control, saying, you should call your congressman and ask why they're against this. Is it because of the NRA and they care more about them than they do about first graders? What do you make of the tone of the president at this point?
The president, Candy, seems so fixated. The president seems so fixated on demonizing Republicans that he is blinded to the opportunities as well as the obligations that he has to deal with the big problems of this country on debt and on the entitlements.
And you have those same opportunities on the Republican side as well, correct?
So I continue to want to work together. The president, if he hits the reset button like he did with Russia, it's time to hit the reset button with Republicans and really look for solutions to the major problems. And divided government is the perfect time to do it, Candy.
Senator John Barrasso, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.